All right, everybody, what is up? Welcome back to another Marvel movie discussion. I'm hanging out with Goss and Broly, the usual. It's been a hot second since we've actually all been together to do a discussion on like launch day of a movie.
It's been a hot
Um,
minute.
but this was a big one to do it on,
Did we
and
do Spider-Man? Number.
yes, we did.
Did we do No Way Home?
Well, I think me and Broly did No Way Home.
I think yeah, me and Vaz.
Okay.
But yeah, we are back. Broly and I just got back from the movie. We just saw Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, and Goss saw it a little bit earlier than us. So we all did get to watch it today. And my God, that movie! It literally hurt my brain sometimes. Like that, there was so much going on, and I'm just like sitting there holding my head, and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I don't know how many times I said this is fucking crazy, watching this movie. But yeah, I guess let's just get into it. It's gonna be really hard, I feel like, especially on our first viewing, to really understand everything because this movie kind of goes everywhere. It goes everywhere really quickly. But we're gonna do our best to kind of go over everything and talk about how we felt with the movie, things that stood out, surprises, and just basically how where we end up and all of that. So I'm gonna toss it to Goss first. Goss, you want to just give a quick overview, like what'd you think of the movie?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. The only reason I saw this movie was because of the X-Men cameo. I know this is like, it's a little bit too early to like talk about that type of stuff, but if you saw the trailer, it was kind of already expected that there was going to be an X-Men cameo. It's literally the only reason I went to go watch the movie, because I knew there was going to be great cameos in this. There was already a lot of talks that like this movie was going to have more cameos than like Endgame and stuff like that. So I was like already really excited going in. It does kind of suck that like on the back end, it's kind of like, and like honestly, it's hard to say like, oh, I went to go see a Doctor Strange movie for Doctor Strange, because I kind of didn't go see the movie for Doctor Strange. There was a lot of like, this movie was very like big on like the culmination of a lot of like the Disney series that have been going on. So if you've watched like What If or WandaVision, like this is kind of like the culmination of those, like, and put together in movie form. So I went in with like a lot of already thinking about how I wanted this movie to be, and a lot of it like I really didn't care too much about. Like I knew Doctor Strange was gonna be okay. I didn't think Doctor Strange was gonna die. I was already like, okay, it's just like a Doctor Strange movie, but I was more interested in like the aspect of, from WandaVision, and the intricacies of how What If plays into the movie, and then obviously the X-Men cameos and the other cameos that end up coming up, which you could talk about later, which are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
This movie to me is very much, I feel this is very much the starting point of the rest of this phase that's going to be happening. I know a lot of people can say the previous movies, with especially with No Way Home, that being like the start of the multiverse. But that movie was really just only centralized around Spider-Man as a whole, versus this movie really being about like opening doors to other pathways of movies that are eventually will come together as being like another big bad on the level of Thanos. So this movie to me felt very much like the start of, okay, this is the movie that's gonna like branch off into like other films that are gonna eventually all come together again to like fight the big enemy that is, everybody in Marvel is dealing with. But the movie as a whole, to me at least, was a fantastic. It had everything that I wanted, minus one thing, which is there's no fucking Shumagorath. I feel like it was the perfect movie that they could have put him in, and they didn't put him in, which is fine. There was also a point where I thought Mephisto might have come out. I was kind of like, oh shit, like this could be a really good moment for them to reveal like Mephisto, but they didn't do it, which is okay. It wasn't like a deal breaker. It didn't ruin the movie. It was just something that I kind of had like hopes for, but it didn't come to fruition. But that didn't ruin my entire like experience watching the film. So I definitely really, really enjoyed this film. I think it's great. It's amazing. If you're a fan of Marvel in general, I think this is the movie to go watch. Because, I mean, you could watch No Way Home and be a fan of the MCU, but No Way Home is really geared towards more of the Spider-Man fans. A lot of the movies prior to that, like Shang-Chi and Black Widow and whatever, like Internals, all of those are more like one-shots, right? They're not really movies that kind of like they give you little hints here and there of like what's going to happen in the future, but it's never really like given to you on like a silver platter, like here you go, like this is kind of where we're headed. Except in this movie they really did that very well, and I really, really enjoyed this movie. I think if you're a fan of Marvel as a whole, not just one storyline or one specific character, I think you should definitely go watch this movie. It's great.
Yeah, I think that something to take note of is this is probably the first movie where you really needed to watch Disney Plus TV shows.
Agreed.
Like
agreed.
If you did not watch
100%.
WandaVision, then you are fucking kind of lost with what the hell is going on with Wanda. And that's just something that you have to take into consideration, because a lot of the times people go watch these Marvel movies, and maybe they don't care about the TV shows. They're just like, I'm not gonna watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. About that. I was like that back in the day. I didn't watch Jessica Jones and shit like that. And so now this is like a pretty huge step for that kind of like storytelling, where they want to use a TV show to fill in the blank before a big movie to kind of resolve that issue. And
they also did a really good job at fans of those that have been watching their Disney Plus series, right? Like, What If, for example, isn't really exactly tied to this movie.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of callbacks to What If, like huge callbacks.
That, like when it comes to WandaVision and needing to know WandaVision for this movie, that's necessary. But when it comes to What If, just the fact that we're jumping dimensions or jumping multiverses, you can kind of gather the pieces on your own. Like, oh, Agent Carter, I get it, because it's a different universe, and instead of Steve, it was Peggy. And stuff like that. So what if that's something that maybe you didn't have to watch it, but you didn't have to,
but it helped a lot, right?
Yeah,
it helps because What If ends up being like, okay, so like, spoiler alert, Agent Carter is one of the members of the Illuminati that show up in Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. But for those that didn't watch What If, that's the first time that you see Agent Carter as Captain America, versus those that have seen What If already. Agent Carter was like the origin story of Agent Carter becoming Captain America was shown in What If. So you kind of have more of a backstory. You have more of like an appreciation for that character. So when you see that character like being brought to real life and shown on the big screen, it's kind of like, oh, that is so cool. Like that they actually
definitely
because especially because What If is an animated show, right? Like it's not a live action TV show or a live action show like Loki or WandaVision or whatever. So being able to put a cartoon character in like live action on the big screen is such a great achievement, I think, and it's such a good callback. It helps me feel like, okay, I didn't watch What If like just for the fucks of it. Like, oh, I watched What If, and Disney and Marvel know that, like, okay, if you watch this show, here's like some like, they had like zombie Doctor Strange, they had Agent Carter, there was evil Doctor Strange, like there were so many like different callbacks to the What If series that like really made me feel appreciative of like, hey, thank you for watching the show, here's like some little callbacks to that so you can appreciate it. Like I think that shit is so awesome.
I think that overall for me, I enjoyed the movie. There were some flaws that I will point out later when we get into that. But overall, I think that it was such a trip. It was such a imaginative and surreal experience seeing so much different magic and sorcery and just the strange stuff that the Marvel universe can offer. I think overall I was pleased. I went in there looking for a crazy Doctor Strange movie, and I walked out with a crazy Doctor Strange movie. I actually, as opposed to what you said, Gauze, I actually do like Doctor Strange is nowhere near my favorite Marvel hero in the least bit, but I do enjoy being taken out of what I enjoy. You know what I mean? I like being able to see something different that I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't go to the comic book store and pick up a Doctor Strange issue, but if you put it in front of me in the big screen, I'm gonna be really interested to check it out. So that's how I feel about these movies. I'm always gonna be super excited for these because they will surprise me. I don't know what to expect. But for you, Brawley, how'd you feel overall? What'd you think?
I enjoyed the movie. Like you guys said, it's a trip. Like watching everything unfold. The different jumps through the different universes. They introduced a new character, America Chavez, which is kind of like just out of the blue. Like it won't get into like how the movie starts running. Like there is no slowdown. There is no, like intro. It's just boom. Like you're pretty much thrown in with these characters and different versions of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it reminded me of Infinity War in a way, where we have just like Tony and Pepper in the park, and then it's like, hey, come with us, and then that's like the movie starts, you know?
Kind of, yeah. And so so it's really interesting to see those characters, and the only thing I'll say about the Disney Plus movie shows, other than WandaVision, is if you watch them all, you know that they're kind of already tying in the Young Avengers. And it's gonna be really interesting to see. She like America Chavez is supposed to be the leader of that group, based on the comics. So it's really important to know like what her role might be in the future. But yeah, I was really interested. I'm kind of like in the same boat as Goss. Like I watched the film because I was really hyped to see what characters are gonna show up in this. I mean, it's the multiverse, right? They've been hinting at this for so long, and it's always interesting. Like it's kind of like when you're watching Loki, you're like, who's gonna show up in this? Like, what characters are we gonna see? And so, the big reveals, the big mystery has always been, okay, when is Marvel gonna finally introduce X-Men into this? And I don't think they've done it yet, but they do have Professor X. And you do hear the little X-Men animated series music when he wheels in. So like it is like basically just showing, okay, this is the X-Men, but they still don't say it. It's not there yet.
We haven't heard the.
We'll get there. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Yeah, I have my reasons.
Okay, but other than that, I really like the film. Does it have its low points? Yes. Is there some negative that you come out of this? Yes. It's not perfect. Not something that is I don't think it's in the level of like Winter Soldier or maybe even Infinity War. It's not there, but I definitely love the film for what it was doing and all the the direction it went is what made me really enjoy this film. Because it's dark. It is very, very dark.
I could not actually. I'd have to agree, dude. There were some points where I was like, "Yo, what the fuck? Why? This is PG-13. What the fuck?"
It definitely wasn't PG-13 at some moments.
I think for me, since we kind of went over who got revealed here and there, the one that I was really disappointed in that didn't show up, and I honestly thought it was a guarantee, especially given how personable the person playing the character is. I thought Deadpool was a fucking shoo-in. I thought we were gonna see Deadpool show up somehow, but instead,
I think a lot of us were actually pretty disappointed with that because I feel like there were so many characters that were rumored, and if you even without rumors that you thought about like who could be perfect for like this type of movie, I think Deadpool being one of them. And I personally was upset that we didn't get like an alternate version of Tony Stark.
No Iron Man was definitely interesting, especially
because
we got Ultron bots.
Yeah, and not only that, but Iron Man was seated on the chair of the Illuminati.
Yeah, he was a member.
Yeah, so he was a member of the Illuminati. So it's kind of upsetting that we didn't get Tony Stark, but I get it. It's Tony Stark's death was such a big moment in the MCU that it's kind of like I don't think we really need to like show it again. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I get it, but it's like you guys could have done something, because I mean they did Captain America, right? And Tony Stark. I think he's still on the moon.
He's on the moon right now.
I think the weight of Tony Stark's death and how it affected the MCU just kind of made it like so. I don't think that there's any sort of messing with the multiverse in itself that they're gonna have an alternate universe Tony Stark. I think they're just kind of gonna let that not be a thing. Because I mean you have Vision dying every 5 fucking like I don't know how many times this dude has died already, but like Vision's death in Endgame it was sad and it had impact, but it was not as detriment as Tony Stark dying. So I get it, but I still feel like that could have been cool to see, because I mean there was that rumor that Tom Cruise was gonna play Tony Stark, and I kind of wanted to see that. I'm not gonna lie,
especially with the Maverick.
I kind of wanted to
we
see
got a
that.
Maverick trailer before for Top Gun. So
you did?
Yeah.
I got Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, we got that one. We got Maverick, and we got the Avatar like early look.
Oh, Avatar. That's right. Yeah, I got Avatar too.
But all right. So I guess we'll because like I said, the movie does kind of go everywhere, and we don't need to hit every single point. I kind of just mainly want to talk about standout. Let's go into standout moments and something that you guys want to pinpoint exactly, and then let's go into the finale, I suppose, or just kind of like talk about how things unfold. The main point that I want us to talk about the most on is what do we think this movie leads us to? Like, that's like the big, I guess, moment that happens throughout all this is that there's a lot of characters that change after this. So,
okay.
I guess right out the gate, just to let you guys know, Wanda is basically the big bad of this movie. And she just, it's so crazy to me how well they orchestrated her reveal. It was like, oh, we're gonna be in this place that I've just been like I've been farming and
that scene was so sick,
so
dude.
Good because
it was so good.
It was so
like Doctor Strange smells the flowers. It smells real, and I'm like, okay. So like I was kind of like, all right, like nothing shady's gonna happen. And then she reveals it, and I'm like, what? That kind of went away.
And it's such a cool, it was such a cool moment for Doctor Strange as a character. It shows how perceptive he is and how he's always trying to like keep aware of his surroundings and stuff. So he smells the flower, he says it's real, and that just shows Wanda's like prowess and her ability to deceive. But he catches her slipping up because she ends up giving up the name for America Chavez. And he's just like, I never said her name, man. Well, she's just like, you never told me her name, did you? Like, no. And she just kind of puts her hand up, and the entire
He goes right into it. She's like, it wasn't even the hard part wasn't even like controlling the people. She just goes right into it. Like, she just goes right into it.
Super sinister. That was definitely a big standout for me, and I think that Wanda. It's rough because it makes Monica Rambeau's words at the end of WandaVision even more stupid. Like when she's like, "You sacrificed so much for these people" or whatever, and then Wanda goes off and she starts killing like heroes. So it's definitely not a great sign, and I just can't believe with how much they did with Wanda. But Brawley, you can take it first. give us something about the movie that you want to pinpoint, or something that really caught your attention. We can talk on.
Well, I'm gonna just I'm gonna let you guys handle the reveals. I'll chime in. I'm gonna focus on Wanda because I thought it's such a. I'm so torn because on one side of it, the way they handled her, like her chasing after people, her being the Scarlet Witch, right? Her being the villain was so good. Like it was so well done and really showed off her power. Like this movie.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
She was a god. Like she's god
Like
level. Right?
she's so fucking broken, bro.
Yeah,
like how is she that broken?
Like
That's
Phoenix
crazy.
level broken. Like
actually Phoenix level broken.
Phoenix level broken. Like
we need that scene from Infinity War where that one chick from Black
I don't
Panther-
even know who you are.
Yeah, she's just like oh, we've been keeping her up there this whole time. Why? Whenever she like took down the saw to say that by herself.
And so, but the thing that I'm torn about is how they kind of like ended it with her, and it just like you if you watch WandaVision and then you go into this like right after, you're kind of like, wait, what? Like, Agatha was trying to like stop her from doing this. She was trying to get the Darkhold. Now they do say it, and it is a relevant thing in the movie that the Darkhold, for those that don't know what the Darkhold is a magical evil book that corrupts the user. Whoever uses it has really great spells, but it is corruption. So basically they made it to where Wanda's pretty much gone. Like they said, Wanda's gone, Scarlet Witch is here, and just the Scarlet Witch, and she's corrupted and evil in a way, but her main purpose is she wants to get her kids back, or not her kids back. She wants to be in the lives of her kids. And she dreams about them, and basically she's dreaming about the other multiverse's version of the kid. And that's her goal. Like, she just wants to be a mother. That's it. And WandaVision is all about her being a mother and her trying to, force, magically make a family. And, that is the purpose of the film. That is, why she's the villain. That's why these guys are after her. That's why they're breaking through different multiverses. So, like, I enjoyed her fight against Illuminati. Like, it almost reminded me, this is going to be a little bit weeb, but it almost reminded me of Sasuke versus the Five Kages. Like, it was like, bro, she's fighting the best of the best. Even in the beginning, they were just like, don't worry about her. Like, your little witch, we don't give a shit about your little witch. She's nothing. And she goes in there and, like, bodies them.
Bodies.
Like,
Just free. It was so free.
It was so free. To interject here, the thing about that whole that's probably my biggest down point of the movie, because it's cool if you're a Wanda fan, and Wanda's awesome, and obviously she's super strong in the comics, she's super strong in the MCU. It's awesome to see her, really be leveled up to this power in the movies, but the problem that I have is that these characters, like, this was such an exciting moment, having Mr. Fantastic show up as John Krasinski, and having Professor X show up with the theme song and the yellow fucking car.
Oh, I can't believe they used the yellow wheelchair.
I know. When I was sitting there, I'm like, it does look kind of stupid. But it was pretty great that they did it anyway.
It was so good. And then even when he was like, let me do my mind powers, and it had like the waves in the air.
Yeah,
oh
it was
my
so good.
God.
It was so
good.
But the thing is, it just felt so under utilized. We had these characters show up. They gave a little talk to Doctor Strange, and they got their asses handed to them so fast. And I don't mind Wanda winning and killing them, because that's intense and it shows her fall to the corruption and to madness. But I just wish that they held their own a little bit longer.
So here's my I have a counterpoint to that. So my thing is that seeing this movie and watching Wanda just completely shit on all of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
At first I agreed with you, where it was kind of like, dude, because you think about it, right? Charles Xavier is like, that's a god level mutant. That's not like just some fucking run of the mill fucking whatever. Like you're talking about dude like that has fought people like Apocalypse and fucking like, dude, this guy is god level mutant. So seeing him get so like easily handled by Wanda, because that's basically what happened.
Anyway, the way she killed her was fucking amazing, though.
It was actually mad sick.
dark.
It was sick. It was fucking
I knew it was gonna come down to a mind battle, but I mean I think that the mind battle that Charles had against Apocalypse in the fucking Oscar Isaac Apocalypse movie was pretty sick too, you know. But this is what I mean. Like, I understand Wanda has to deliver these deaths out because that's what the movie's trying to portray about the corruption and her and all of that. But I just wish there was at least a little bit more. Here's
my thing. Wait,
Mr. Fantastic jumped in the room and he told her
turned to noodles.
Yeah,
he got turned to noodles.
He doesn't do anything. Like
Black Bolt did zero.
He's like Batman. Like, he needs a plan. They didn't plan for this. They just said, "Oh, she sucks." Whatever.
My thing is that I think we all need to remember. What I think we all need to remember is this is kind of what helps me deal with that scene. So we all need to remember, and the important part, right? Because you watch this movie and you see Wanda kill people like Richard Reed, who we've all been waiting for. We've been waiting for a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for, like, you know, the reintroduction of the X-Men into the MCU. We've been waiting for people like the Inhumans with Black Bolt and like his side of the story. So the thing that we all have to remember is that Wanda only killed alternate universe versions of these characters.
I'm gonna go into that. I know what
so
you're going.
It is not our Earth. It is their Earth.
Yeah.
Wanda traveled to a different universe.
The thing is, I don't care. Like, I understand what you're saying. I don't care about that because that's not. I was telling Brawley too, because Brawley was saying, "Oh, this whole multiverse thing is gonna make me not care about death so much because it's not our world. We don't care about them directly." Yeah. And I agree with that. Yeah, if it's not the people from 616, then it's kind of, you know, we're not gonna be totally distraught about it. But I still think that the scenes, even if you're going to kill off other versions of these characters that we might see in the future,
yes,
at least
I agree
make
with
it
that.
a little bit more.
Give them some fight in them instead of like getting completely shit on.
I will say that it feels like it ruined Reed Richards. I do feel like even if they made a movie of him, even if they made a Fantastic Four, and even if it's John Krasinski, so, you know, first off, you know, everybody was right. That guy was the best casting for him. You know, perfect Reed Richards. But it just, like, you know, like, to me,
it was actually really good.
You don't need to, like, don't kill them. Like, you know, like, maybe do like Aladdin, where you fuck them up and they're like, you know, immobilized.
Like what Thanos did to the Guardians when he took Gamora.
Like, I guess so, right? Something
where
that.
he made Drax into like cubes and he.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like something like that, where like you just don't kill them. You, like, put them away, and then it'll be fine. Because I just feel like, I mean, to be honest, Fantastic Four, I don't care until Doctor Doom.
Yep.
And I think I know I'm jumping the ship a little bit, but that's gonna be the next reveal.
Yep. I agree.
That's the next pop up is
hard agree.
Doctor Doom. But you know, the thing is, and this is like my big only defense for Wanda, even though I hear your complaints about it and what they did to the Illuminati was bullshit. They nerfed this character for so long. She's been nerfed for so long, and they've been hinting at her being powerful for so long. And now they finally did it. They said, "Fine, you want Scarlet Witch? Here you go." And they gave us Scarlet Witch. Like they gave us exactly what she's supposed to. And you know, and I thought that was cool. I really liked it, even though Wanda is one of my favorite characters, like throughout the series, like throughout the movie. And you know, it kind of sucks what, you know, ended up happening, but you know, I liked it and it was good. And I was kind of hoping, dude, that because Professor X kept saying Maximoff, that they were just gonna like just say she's an X-Men or something, like. Just say mutant.
Just say mutant, dude. Just say it. Just say it.
Magneto's there. Like, if Magneto would have showed up, I think I would have lost. I think I would have lost if Magneto would have showed up and been like, my child or something, right? Like, whatever.
Why would he say it like that?
My child.
My child, whatever.
But
But
I think that was probably the lowest point for me. I enjoyed the fact that they went that hard. Black Bolt dying at the beginning, I was like, holy shit.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Black Bolt's death was the best death in the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, that shit reminded me of like
that
Watchmen
shit
or
was
something.
that shit was so sick. The way they executed that, and they showed and they were able to show his power after they showed that universe's Black Bolt destroying Doctor Strange with his scream. So you saw how powerful this dude was, and for that the way for it to happen like that, oh my god! He blew his own brains out with his voice. That's so sick.
Yeah,
it was
that's why I like that where they It kind of felt like the scene from Invincible where he started killing everybody.
Yeah.
And so I like that they started that way. I just wish that from that point that the remaining heroes from the Illuminati, they were like, all right, fuck it, we're gonna fuck her up now. She just killed our friend. We're not gonna hold back. But then they kind of just even Captain Carter was like, I can do this all day, and yeah, it was a callback to Steve, but you literally died to your own shield, and it was just I just felt lazy. She threw the shield, Wanda caught it, threw it back at her, and then she just got hit, and it's like
that shit was so cool though.
The order of the death was bad. I think if you would have had Reed at the end, him making plans and it not working, I think that would have been fine. But the last one being Rambo, which it's cool, but I don't know, I don't know about that character.
I don't think it's Rambo. That Captain Marvel is Captain Marvel's air fighter friend from the.
Oh, you think it's the mom?
Yeah, the mom.
Maybe. I guess you're right. Maybe. I don't know. It was hard. It was funny because people were thinking that was Kang. And I was just in the trying to decipher the videos, the trailers.
And then even then, bringing a statue down on Captain Marvel, I didn't buy it. It wasn't enough for me to be. It just felt so rushed, and I wish it wasn't. We didn't.
Yeah, that fight needed to be taken care of better.
Yeah, just a little bit, unfortunately.
It would really suck too. This is why I'm kind of on the fence of I don't think that this is gonna be the last that we're gonna see of these characters, which I'm okay with. I'm on the fence between I understand your point, Bash, but also at the same time I'm also on the side of there's no way that they would do big reveals like this and then have these characters immediately killed off. Yeah. It's literally there's no way.
The best way I can explain it is the best way I can put it into words is this: say you're playing D&D with your friends, and then you guys decide to have a one shot. It's not going to affect your campaign, but you guys have a one shot where all your friends you guys fight in a battle royale against each other. Right? So it's not going to affect the campaign. It's not going to affect your storylines. It's literally just a one shot. But you guys, the fight ends in less than an hour of D&D playtime. It's not as fulfilling. Even if you remove all the strings, it's just unfortunate that it didn't deliver as well as it could have. That's where I'm at. And so I'm not too much bent over the fact that we're not going to get more of these characters that we waited long to see. It's just more so if they were going to get rid of them in a fight like that, at least make the fight a little bit more impactful. Make it a cooler way of them going out rather than I threw a shield and brought a statue down on you and then you guys are dead.
Yeah.
And especially Mr. Fantastic. I wish that he was the last one and he did some kind of plan where he helped at least slow her down. He ripped off one of Wanda's legs or something. Something to help these guys get away from her for long enough to get to the book. They ended up doing it anyways, but she was just hobbling or whatever. But yeah, moving past that point, after the whole Illuminati thing, it kind of leads into the end of it all. Wanda does end up stopping them. She sends alternate version Christina and our Doctor Strange to some crazy messed up world, and American Chavez goes with Wanda to our world, and yeah, so we kind of get this it's not super drawn out, but we do get this kind of long-winded moment of Strange and Christine walking through this broken world, and we end up finding, I guess, what seems to be the what if Sinister Strange, but it just doesn't make sense to me because it doesn't play exactly into how Sinister Strange ended up in What If, where he was supposed to
Yeah,
be.
because he ended up in like a cube, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like trapped forever. Or
Yeah,
some
exactly.
Shit.
So I guess it's not supposed to be directly related to What If, but it's just taking things that we know from it. But yeah, so what'd you guys think about that whole exchange and how it went down?
Well, I do
Word.
want to point out. Yeah, I do want to point out real quick that I personally thought America Chavez was a badass fucking character in this fucking movie. I think a character that can punch holes into fucking multiverses is fucking awesome. I love that shit. So I think that character needs to get more recognition because I feel like that type of shit is super dope.
Definitely cool.
I think
that
she was
setting with the monks in the
Yeah, and then like she's learning like the mystic arts, like that shit's so cool. Like
Yeah.
I think
Dude,
it's gonna be
cool
cool
would
for
it
her to have like her
been-
own like movie.
How cool would it have been if that last part where she's like doing the circles, if we saw Ned there too?
Oh my!
Yeah, like I was thinking about that with Ned, and like kind of
God.
like I don't know, not to say she looks like Ned, but like kind of like gives that aura and you know the same kind of background and
It's just, I think she's just young. She's like quirky young teenager. You know?
yeah.
You know, it's really at first too. I thought this movie was gonna kind of tie in directly with the Spider-Man movie, and it's really it was really kind of jarring to me at the beginning where you find out that this actually takes place like way beyond that. Like I thought this was gonna be something that seemed very like, oh,
Well,
this
it
happened like
didn't.
immediately after when America Chavez showed up and they're having that conversation in the diner and she's like, oh, well, what kind of stuff have you, like with multiverse, have you messed with? And he was like, well, there was this one time with Spider-Man, like almost as if that like happened like a while back versus like something that just happened like recently, you know what I mean? Like the movie didn't have any tie-ins to that rip that happened in No Way Home, which kind of a little bit disappointing because I thought that was gonna be like there was gonna be some sort of tie-in, but it really wasn't. Like Spider-Man and like that whole multi-dimensional tear wasn't really explained, other than that conversation that they had with America about like multi-dimensional travel and like all this shit. But yeah,
that series needs figuring out. They're right now in limbo because they just don't know what they want to do. Like Tom Holland's taking a break, and we don't know if he's Sony, if he's still part of MCU. It made it seem like it's Sony only. They were gonna bring Tom Hardy in, then not. Now it's we're getting another Venom, and they don't know. So it kind of sucks. I think if they knew, then I think he would have showed up, or I think more of the film would have been tied into this one. But because they don't know, it's kind of like they don't want to jump the gun, and do something.
Yeah. I feel like they could have at least made some sort of tie-in with like the rift in the multiverse, right? Because I mean that was obviously like the big focal point at the end of No Way Home, with like everybody being there because it was a rift in the multiverse, and they could have used that to like kind of lead into like this whole thing, but they didn't, which was kind of like, I mean, you kind of like Marvel kind of set it up to look like it was going to be that way, but it just didn't end up that way, which it's fine. But I just wanted to say that like little tidbit between them and like talking about Spider-Man, like that shit was kind of like mad funny, where she was like, what did she say? Like, did he shoot webs out of his ass?
Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe.
I will say America Chavez, as cool as she is, I think her power is too fucking godlike. That
it's
I just
broken.
feel like she can't be shown a lot, like, cause then it's like people are just gonna hope like she needs a nerf, because then people are just gonna be like, oh, well, why don't you just bring fucking, I don't know, like another superhero from another dimension, or why don't we just go to another multiverse? Like she has to be used I think
Sparingly,
she's supposed to come
yeah.
out, yeah, sparingly. I think she's supposed to come out in the Ant-Man movie, maybe, but I don't know, like, because that one has to deal with Kang and stuff like that. I don't know. I like there's different stories, there's different ways they can introduce the Young Avengers. She's supposed to be the leader of the Young Avengers. She's supposed to, they're the ones that are supposed to, deal with Kang or at least fight him. So I don't know what's the deal. She's cool. I think the actress did really well.
Yeah, I think she
And,
did really good.
I mean, for her, she was getting tortured like half the damn movie.
Yeah.
So
No.
Her and Wong. Wong was getting his ass kicked the whole movie.
Dude.
yeah, Wong got bodied so much. In the movie.
I felt bad for Wong.
The
bro.
defense
Even
sequence was
Gargantos bodied him, bro. Like, oh
good.
no.
He got bodied a lot.
So wait, I guess moving back over to what I said earlier about the Sinister Strange. I mean, my thoughts on it are pretty simple. It's just the visual, stylized version of how they fought each other was really cool. I thought using the musical notes and having that become weapons and them having an orchestra battle basically with the music.
That was so sick.
Yeah.
That scene was so badass.
It was cool, but I think what was sitting through it, what threw me off is just my knowledge of how strong Sinister Strange is in the What If series. It skewed my expectations. I thought our Doctor Strange was just gonna get fucked up, and instead he kind of just gets. And I thought that Sinister Strange was gonna come back because we got that scene in the trailer where he's like, things just got out of hand, and I thought that he was gonna come back because especially when Christine sees the eye open whenever he gets impaled on the gate after the fight.
Yeah, that's
I thought that he was gonna come back up and he was gonna be like, nah, it's not that easy because I was with the Darkhold for centuries, And
wait, could that mean that they trade places?
I think that the reason why Strange has the third eye in our world is because of the corruption of the Dream Walk. I think that's just
yeah. But I mean, like, you're right. Like, he was impaled, the eye opened, and they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
it was definitely something that made me think, and I just don't know. There was a lot of things in the movie that kind of left the door open. Like even in the beginning of the movie where we have the other alternate universe Strange running with American. They're fighting some like crazy demon, and then it just we don't see that demon ever again. Like we learned that Wanda was the one that summoned the demon, but we don't see it again, and it kind of just they were running after that book that was floating in time there. It's definitely tricky, and that's why I feel like it's really hard for me, at least in this discussion. Like I feel like I need to watch the movie again to really just kind of digest everything a little bit better.
We need Ryan
but we need Ryan Airy to kind of help a little bit too. But there are a lot of open-ended things. I think the Sinister Strange fight itself was cool, but how he moves on from that and how he beats him was just very simple. I guess it was just kind of he took care of him by pushing him out the window and he got impaled, and that was it.
It's so weird. Like, just not to cut you off, but like Doctor Strange, I mean, I think in a morality sort of way, he had a big win in this movie. Like he helped convince America Chavez that she could use her powers, and we'll get into the ending at the end. After all this, but I just feel like he just never really gets anything going. Like nothing done. Like you make him. You prop him up as this really badass hero, but it always feels like he's fighting something that's too much for him. Like he can't handle it, so something else has to help him. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't ever feel like I can depend on Doctor Strange winning this. He does beat himself, but like himself, I think honestly, like thinking back about it, the Sinister Strange was pretty ass. Like he didn't really do anything. And he had the Darkhold for what? Like, it's not like he was summoning shit. It's not like I know, like, it was so weird because they made it seem like, oh, I'm holding the book, I'm taking care of it, but are you evil? I guess. But he's not using the Darkhold for evil, so it's like, they just gloss over that universe. Like, they just this universe shit, and they don't really do anything with it. They don't. He doesn't say like why. He even said like I lost, and he doesn't even say who he lost to. He just says I lost, and that he has Darkhold, and then he doesn't really use it other than him having a third eye, which the third eye doesn't really ever do anything. You know, like it doesn't tell me anything that like it gives him heightened powers or like it gives him, you know, like they just it's literally there for just cosmetic, like literally.
I mean, obviously, it'll go more into like what exactly it does. Maybe it's a eye that is also linked to a greater, darker entity that will show up later.
I think it's probably the Eye of Agamotto, but I don't know, right? Like,
yeah, there's a lot of questions for sure, and that's why, like, at least in this discussion, it's surprising, but I honestly feel like this movie unloads so much when it comes to universes and things that we learn about other places and other characters, and it's mainly it's Doctor Strange dealing with the fact that he's not gonna get. He was at odds on the other end of what Wanda was doing. Wanda was going down what the What If Strange did, and she was doing everything. She was doing everything she could to get her kids back. Like What If Strange was doing everything he could to get his Christine back, and so this was Doctor Strange learning that, you know, he's making the calls and he doesn't need to question himself because everyone, even in the beginning of the movie when they're at the wedding, the guy sits next to him and he's just like, well, you didn't get the girl, you know, but was all that worth it, all those lives and blah blah blah, was there any other way? At the beginning of the movie tries to put that seed of doubt into Strange, and then at the end of the movie,
are you happy? Like,
at the end of the movie, he fixes the watch and he kind of, you know, tries to move forward. So
but then he's corrupted, I guess.
Yeah, and so I think for me, like, we should probably just talk about how the movie's resolved, and then let's just kind of workshop a little bit about what we think is going to happen next. So the way the movie is resolved is Wanda, she's been using the Darkhold in our world, but then and she uses this spell called like dream walking, where she can go into a Wanda of a different timeline and become that Wanda and start using that body. And so she's traveling the timeline, I mean the multiverse, to find Strange and Chavez, and while that's happening, one of the remaining people that are with Wong in our world, they're still alive, and they run up and they stab the book. They were like, "Fuck you, Voldemort! Here's the Basilisk's fang. I'm gonna stab the book, and it's not gonna work anymore." And so Wanda has to find a new. And I kind of got disappointed by the fact that Wong gave in so quickly. Yeah, he wanted to save the people around him because he's the Sorcerer Supreme. But the Sorcerer Supreme before Strange or Wong wouldn't have done that, you know? So it's like, it was a little disappointing, and it just kind of made me feel like Wong wasn't fit for that role. But he ends up telling her exactly where to go, and he says that the market, like, there was no sort of cunning behind it. He didn't want to trick her or waste her time while Strange would do something on his end. He just kind of took her to where she needed to go, where there was a tomb in her honor. It wasn't a tomb, it was like a throne, she said. And it had the Darkhold markings for her to continue her ritual of dream walking. And it all leads up to her getting Chavez back into our world, and she's trying to take her power so then Wanda could use the power to her own free will without the Darkhold and ensure that her kids will never be in trouble. And if there's a disease that gets one of them, then she can just go find the cure. And if there's something happens, then she can go reverse it. She said there's always an answer in the multiverse. And Strange, I think the way he handles combating her was really cool. I thought it was super interesting that the zombie Strange, it definitely,
zombie Strange was cool.
Yeah, that was like a good use of like. What's the phrase that everyone throws around, like subvert my expectations? They did a good job of showing zombie Strange in the trailer, and I thought that was going to be some form of Sinister Strange that he had to fight, but instead it was actually him dream walking and using this zombie Strange that was dead at the beginning of the movie and using that body to fight Wanda. And I thought the effect with the spirits and him flying with the spirit devil things was really fucking cool. It reminded me another Naruto reference was when Sasuke had the bat wings and he kind of like those like hands.
That too.
Yeah, those
I got
hands came
that.
out of his back.
I got that too.
Yeah, but yeah, what'd you guys think of the final showdown with Wanda and Chavez and Strange?
Well, to me, I enjoyed the Doctor Strange kind of trying to be the difference, right? It was funny because the whole message, honestly, from the Illuminati and from other people, is that the biggest threat to the multiverse is Doctor Strange, and because in that universe they killed Thanos. Rest in peace. They showed my boy getting killed again. Let's stop.
Yeah.
But the reason why he won is because he used the Darkhold and got a bunch of other, he basically sacrificed a bunch of people to do it. And Doctor Strange has been that way, where he will sacrifice to get the job done. If you remember from Infinity War, he even says it to Tony Stark, "I will not hesitate to sacrifice you too if it means keeping the time stone." And they referenced that in this movie when it came to, Wanda was asking him, why did you, why'd you make the sacrifice to give Thanos a time stone? What were you thinking back then? And he was like, well, I was at war. Like, I had to do it. So, like, the battle at the end was really cool. Him being able to help America Chavez find her power was really cool and learn how to use it or just believe in herself, which was really good. And there is no climactic fight. It's really just America Chavez kind of gives Wanda what she wants and puts her in the house with the other Wanda and the other kids, and the kids see her for the witch. They even call her like, "Oh, look, get us away from this witch," and they're scared and they're like, and she's just kind of like, "I would never hurt you. Like, I'm not a monster. I promise. I'm not. I want the best for you boys." But they're scared and they want their real mom. And the real mom kind of like tries to protect them, and that kind of what solves the dispute and kind of calms Wanda down, and she ends up saying, "You know what, like." The other Wanda kind of tells her like, "Hey, like, I will protect the boys. Don't worry, Yeah. And so that kind of resolves the situation. Wanda or the Scarlet Witch says, "I'm gonna destroy all the Darkholds." Well, she just said she's gonna destroy the Darkhold, but it ends up destroying every Darkhold in every universe. So no more Darkhold. And pretty much, I mean, you don't really get a definitive, she kills herself, but that's pretty much what the hint is that she destroys herself and the throne that she's in, with it, because the Darkhold is basically written inside the temple that she's in, and she basically makes it all crumble down on top of her and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and Doctor Strange, I think that was kind of cool. Doctor Strange was like pretty much doing the same ability. He used the Darkhold to use to get in the body of the first Doctor Strange that died, became a zombie, which I thought was really cool. I thought probably that was Doctor Strange's best moments. Was like he was in a zombie form and using the spirits to like be his wings, and he was fighting, Wanda a little bit, and they kind of had her trapped for a bit, but whatever. Like little skirmishes here and there, but I thought that was really cool of him doing that. And yeah, I mean the movie is resolved in that way, and America Chavez becomes, starts training in the Cosmic Hall, and Doctor Strange ends up, leaving and going back, and then you get the hint with he basically walks outside, and then he has a third eye.
Yeah.
And
that's the big reveal, is that Doctor Strange has the third eye on his forehead, and so I guess moving into the post-credit scene, there's two scenes. One of them's at the very end of the credits, and it's just a silly throwaway that actor from Evil Ash. He was I when he first showed up.
Wait, whoa, yeah. We're not gonna fucking glaze over that. That is Bruce fucking Campbell.
Yeah.
You better recognize.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen
never watched
fucking
the
Evil
film. I
Dead,
never watched
if you've ever seen Evil Dead,
No.
everybody out there right now, go watch Evil Dead. The whole running joke.
The audience loved it.
Yeah,
we were
the
in.
whole running joke about that character is that Ash from Evil Dead gets that hand cut off because that hand gets possessed by a demon.
Yeah.
So it acts on its own, and they cut it off.
Yeah.
So that it didn't
that's why
do
he
shit.
looks at his hand.
That's
again,
why,
and he's like,
yeah.
"Haha, it's over.
Yeah, that's why he. Well, it was a throwback to haha, like it's over as in like his hand, but he was also telling people, like the audience, like,
Yeah.
what are you guys still doing
Yeah,
here?
it's
Like
over.
everybody fucking go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was such a great callback to like the Evil Dead series because his hand, that same hand that was like beating him up for like the whole fucking like weeks
Yeah.
that like that spell
3
was
weeks,
going
whatever.
on. Like, yeah, that was the same hand that got possessed in the Evil Dead series. So it's such, dude, like that was one of the best
solid
parts
cameo,
in the
Easter
fucking
egg.
movie. Hell
Yeah.
yes, hell yes.
But yeah, so that was the after credit scene. But the one that I guess pushes the story forward. We do get another scene where Strange he walks outside of a building and he's just like, nothing happened. I didn't have a third eye in the last scene you saw me in. And then he gets confronted by, I want to say it's Psylocke, but maybe it's like.
Okay,
Maybe it's like
Yeah,
Blink,
not
or it's like a MCU version of like
so
Portal or something.
they said it in, they gave it in the credits. If you guys watched if you guys looked
Read
at
them?
the credits,
No, I didn't.
yeah,
No.
if you guys read the credits, her name is Clea. That's Charlize Theron. If you guys don't know who Charlize Theron is, you're living under a fucking
No,
rock.
I know what they're into.
So her name's Clea, and she is actually Doctor Strange's on again, off again girlfriend, wife, love interest outside of Christine. So like after Christine goes and like does her own thing, and he like finally gets over her, he finds this other girl who's also from another dimension, who is also a sorceress, who's like actually renowned in her dimension as being one of like the top sorceresses, and she becomes Doctor Strange's on again, off again girlfriend that goes on adventures with him.
Okay,
So that's literally what that
Solid,
ending was.
solid.
And at first I thought it was magic. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I was like,
yeah,
oh my
the
god.
long blonde hair. It gave me a lot of, because she could fit the role of like Emma Frost, or something like that. And I thought that there is a person in, I'm trying to remember from the X-Men Legend games. There's somebody who can make portals. That it's like Nightcrawler, but even better. And I think they're just called Blink, something like that. And then I thought it was maybe somebody who was related to Psylocke because of the weapon that they should use.
I thought it would have been crazy if that was like his sister in another world,
Yeah. Oh, that's true, because he mentions his sister, right?
Yeah, he mentions his sister
Donna, I believe that's what he said.
Donna or whatever. But I mean, if it's not, if it's Cleo, then I don't.
Yeah. But very very interesting stuff. So, before we go into our ratings, I guess we can kind of say what do we think is going to happen next. Goss, you can go first.
Go ahead, Lost.
So I think this is the perfect moment to, so right now we don't have any more big bads outside of Kang.
And
This
Doctor
is
Doom.
So again, that's what I was going to get to. So this is the perfect moment for Marvel to realize what they have and what they've done and release some Fantastic Four and X-Men shit.
Yeah.
I think it is the perfect time to reintroduce Doctor Doom, to reintroduce Galactus, to reintroduce that entire side of Marvel that hasn't been touched in God knows how long. And if it has, we don't talk about it because those movies are absolutely garbage.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Strange having this direct, like, I guess, memory of meeting these people from a different multiverse. I'm hoping that leads to something where he's like, you know what? Let's find out about our version. Let's find out about Reed Richards in our world. Let's see where he's at.
That's kind of that was like the gist of what I got. I believed that that's why I wasn't as upset about them dying, because I felt like yeah, they're very like they're um important characters in the overall essence of Marvel, but I feel like they were just put there as kind of like placeholders and teasers of like what's gonna happen in the future. I didn't see them so much as like, oh, that's like our, Professor X or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I still enjoyed it. Like the cameos is great. Like don't get me wrong, that entire Illuminati scene was like everything I wanted. So, um, but it's very much I'm very much interested in, now that we know that Marvel is like, it's not just a joke, right? Like
Yeah.
at first, like the whole thing with WandaVision and Quicksilver, like, okay, we get it, Marvel, that was like a huge haha, it was a joke. But at this point, it's no longer a joke. It's out there in the open. And Fantastic Four, Inhumans, X-Men, they're all a thing. They're a thing in this universe. That means that they're a thing in ours. So this is the perfect time to explore those universes and bring them all together to kind of culminate in something fighting against somebody as big as Doctor Doom or
Hell yeah.
Galactus
Hell yeah.
or somebody on that level, right? Like I feel like this is the perfect time to do it.
I hope so, man. I definitely hope so. I feel like we need that like extra like push to really ignite that excitement that Infinity War and Endgame brought about. But
I think with those being introduced, I feel like, because right, like I'm gonna be honest, like everything outside of this movie so far, like even like Thor: Love and Thunder doesn't seem as like important, right? It seems very much like Ragnarok, where it's very like
yeah, it's just puzzle pieces at this point
it's
for
a
a lot of
puzzle
everything.
pieces. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
puzzle
funny ass
piece.
movie though. I do not
It's
care. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah, oh yeah, like Ragnarok was great. Like don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, as far as like how important it was to the rest of the MCU as a whole, as far as like to store this giant, because right, MCU is great as being at being able to give storytelling to its individual characters, but what it's really good at is being able to weave all of those stories together to culminate into one giant event.
Yeah.
So like being able to, so far what we're looking at, like Thor: Love and Thunder isn't gonna be that. Like it's like it's gonna be very much like Ragnarok, where it's very much like a kind of Thor goes on his own adventure and does his own thing, and it's very much just about Thor, and which is cool. I have no problem with it. Thor's a great character. I like his story. I think the trailer was hilarious. Like it showed him like working out with the chains and
Yeah, it
shit.
was
Like,
pretty
that,
good.
that shit,
That movie's
it's
got.
good.
It's definitely gonna be just a fun popcorn flick.
It's gonna be a very
I hope
fun
has
popcorn
a
flick.
cool twist. Like it's just like Ragnarok, because Ragnarok leads into Thanos showing up at the end, and that's what
Yes.
leads into Infinity War, basically. So
But
I hope
but-
I hope Love and
so
Thunder does something like that, where it leads into something greater.
yeah, like, but the thing about Ragnarok, right? Like, yeah, the ending is what leads into that, but the
Yeah.
movie as a
The
whole,
movie itself is kinda-
it is not, right?
Yeah.
So and I feel like Kang is important, but the way that they're handling him as a character, it doesn't seem as like.
Well, the one that we got
Just-
died, so we're the
Yeah.
next Kang we see is going to be worse, and so I'm excited to see how they introduce him. I believe
But
it's an Ant-Man movie, so
Ant-Man is where he's gonna get revealed.
yeah.
I feel like I feel like he's cool, but I feel like it's just not like, I don't feel like he's on that level of threat of like Thanos or Doom or Galactus.
Yeah, of
or
course.
like
He's
he's
a little
just
bit
not
more
there.
Yeah, his name isn't as high as those, but
Yeah,
I guess we're definitely gonna have to wait and see on that. But to wrap things up, because we're already pushing over an hour. Let's go ahead and just go into our ratings. What do we think? What everybody think? Brawley, you can go first.
Man, it's hard because obviously at face value when I get out of the theater, I'm like like this hit a lot of the good spots. It definitely gave me some good. Love seeing John Krasinski as Reed Richards. I think he's perfect for the role. I hope they give him something. I hope they do him better, because obviously they didn't do justice to him in this one. But it's good that he's in there, right? It's good that he
Yeah.
can
That's
say,
it.
"Hey, I was
Agreed.
Reed Richards. Reed Richards
Agreed.
is to you." Blah blah blah. Professor X, hearing the X-Men theme again, same thing. Loved it.
Chills.
Yeah,
Chills.
just a
You know,
small little.
I'm not gonna
Chills.
go too. I know we're pushing the time. I'm not gonna go too deep. I will say the biggest down of this movie was Mordo. Like he had no reason to being in this movie. He was shitty. He like I know this is not the Mordo we know, and that Mordo's still around, but I don't know why they haven't shown that Mordo yet. And for those that don't know, Mordo was kind of like the villain of Doctor Strange 1.
Not really. It was that
He wasn't the
Mads
main
guy.
villain. He's basically like the partner that betrayed, and he hates Doctor Strange. That's all you really have to know. He hates Doctor Strange and wants to be the Sorcerer Supreme. Anyways, and so I have to be honest, and I like I said, I love the film, and I would watch it again. I think it deserves a second showing because I don't think we're gonna really appreciate it until we get through it a couple more times. But I just say Wanda alone carries this film. At least like her arc and what she did and her actions and her killing spree and her resolve to see her children was, the defining moments of this movie. I thought American Thomas was great, and I thought Doctor Strange was okay. I thought, he deserves better, but I think there were some moments where he was really good. Some moments he really wasn't good. So, final rating, I'll give this a 6.5 out of 10. I honestly came out thinking it was a 9 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. But, hearing you guys talk about it and revisiting in my mind and seeing what's good and what's bad, like, there was a lot of misses and there's a lot of, like, things that needs to be talked about. It could go up after a second viewing, but I think I will leave it at a 6.5.
Yeah, I think for me, pretty much what you said. It's kind of like there's a lot of holes here, and maybe when we get more answers in the future, this movie will be better. But it's really hard to sell a movie like that, you know. So I think that as a really really deep dive Marvel fan, watching all the shows, watching all the movies, watching every post credit scene, even watching like videos of people doing an analysis on episodes and everything. It still left me kind of just wanting in certain aspects of how they portrayed certain characters and how they handled certain scenes. So for me, I'm probably gonna give it a 7 just for the fact that we got such a huge array of like visual effects and character debuts and scenes that are gonna be memorable. There's a lot of memorable stuff that's gonna come out of this movie that I'm gonna be like, damn, remember when Captain Carter had that fucking jetpack? Like, it's just like it stands out for sure, and but it's not to the point where I'm like walking away from it. I'm like, they did an amazing job. It was just I enjoyed it. What about you guys?
I think I feel a little bit different. Only because I feel like as a fan of Marvel movies, I kind of look at these films in a different light because generally I'm a huge fan of film, and I critique movies pretty harshly, generally, and I can be a little bit of a film snob when it comes to certain things about movies, and I feel like for a long time being that kind of person has actually hindered me from enjoying Marvel, because if you look at Marvel, and again, I don't mean to like rustle any tail feathers or if you get offended, I'm sorry, but if you're not a fan of Marvel at all and you look at Marvel as just a movie as a whole, it's actually like they're probably like 5 out of 10 at best most of the time, or lower. Like, they're not, to a regular moviegoer who has absolutely no idea about what Marvel is, or they're just going to see like a regular movie. Like, a lot of these movies are very much like you have to know the source material. A lot of it is very much like just flashy effects and a lot of like dialogue that's just so corny and right, we love that shit because we're fans of, we love that shit because we're fans of Marvel, right? But like, as a regular moviegoer that shit is not appealing. They're not gonna like that shit. They're gonna think that shit is corny, and they're gonna think that shit is bad. A lot of people that don't like Marvel generally shit on Marvel movies because they're not as good as like, or quote unquote, they're not as good as like shit like The Godfather or Goodfellas or whatever movie you have as your fucking like top movies or whatever.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I started to have to do because I love Marvel I've loved the Marvel comics, I'm a fan of the Marvel games and the shows and movies and whatever, and a lot of what I had to really do to kind of really start to enjoy these movies was kind of just think of them, put myself in the mindset of like, okay, I'm a kid again, and I'm just watching these movies because I fucking love Marvel, and I've always loved Marvel. So why am I gonna look at these movies in like some sort of weird, subjective, like deep analytical, like, oh man, like I didn't like the way that this person said this line, and it fell flat, and like all this. To me, it's like what makes a Marvel movie great is knowing that Marvel cares about their fans, and that to me is what's most important.
For
because
sure. I could definitely 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
like I feel like Marvel does such a great job at doing that. Like they don't like Marvel. If I look at Marvel as just being a Marvel fan and I watch the MCU movies, they have never let me down. As far okay, never mind. Black Widow was kind of we don't talk about that Taskmaster, but anyway.
Yeah, true.
But for generally, right, 95% of the time, Marvel has always delivered, and like they have never like given, like told their fans and like give all these hints and all these teasers and rumors and all this stuff, and then just completely fall flat on their ass with it. So
Ralph Miller.
going into this, going into this movie, the
rating, son. I want it.
Okay, sorry. So going into this movie, I had all I really cared about was I just want X-Men. Like I want X-Men, I want Reed Richards, I want Doom, I want Magneto. That's what I want. I got a start to that, so I'm happy. The rest of the movie was great. It was fun. It had a lot of action. It was great. I think the new superhero America Chavez is awesome. I think her power is fucking broken. I think the fact that they finally came to a conclusion from us being able to watch WandaVision all the way up until now was great. It's finally concluded. We finally know what happens. We know about the kids, blah, 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 blah. I have to give it a solid 7.5, maybe a hard 8 out of 10. I'm going to go with 7.5. That's probably like the general rule for me. An 8 maybe it's the 0.5 because of all the great cameos and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, solidly as a Marvel film and just how much I enjoyed it and all the hype that had built up to it. We got like Gargantos, who was like a Shumagorath-esque character from a different dimension. We have interdimensional travel. We have different characters. We have Zombie Strange. We have characters from different parts of the Marvel universe itself finally culminating into one movie. We have all these things that happened in one movie altogether, and I definitely agree with you too, saying that this does require a second watch, only because so much shit that was crazy happened in this film. It definitely requires for you to maybe go back and look at it again. But off of first rip coming out of that movie theater, I had it at an 8 out of 10. It's probably after like a couple more hours of like debilitating and listening to you guys talk about it, I'd probably give it a solid 7.5 out of 10.
All right. Well, there you have it. So 7.5 for Goss. I'm going to give it a 7, and Brawley said 6.5. So we're all kind of around the same area. Just 1.5 each taken off or given. But yeah, hopefully, if you guys saw this video on YouTube, I hope you guys got to see the movie. Let me know what you thought, or agreed with what we said, or if you didn't, be sure to leave a comment if you'd like. And yeah, thank you again, Broly and Goss, for sticking to it and watching the movies right when they come out, so we can kind of get this out there. It's always so fun, and I think the next one is Thor, right? That comes out in July or June.
Yeah, this summer.
Super close.
The next one is Obi-Wan.
Okay, well, I meant Marvel. I meant
Okay,
Marvel. But yes, Obi-Wan's this month. Yes.
Obi-Wan.
Very excited.
Obi-Wan.
Come
Yo,
on,
can we talk? Yo, we're gonna watch that shit, right? Like, there's no way we're not gonna watch
100%
that
we're
shit.
gonna watch
100%.
100%.
100%.
But yeah, Thor next.
Yeah, Thor's next.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again so much, everybody who's watching, and we're definitely gonna see you guys in the next movie review. Until then, I'll catch you all later. Bye.
Peace.
Peace.